What a long night. Okay, so as I'm recording this, it's now 11:14 Pacific, which means it's 2:14 Eastern. Hi, Toronto. You guys want to talk about your game? Really? You guys are waiting until the morning for Steve Dangle, right? You're like that jerk, and BC is going to be reviewing the game so late. Kudos to anybody to anybody who stays up for this review, for the reviews that are about to follow, because there's some major reviews coming. But playoff hockey, right? So Nash was the second line center tonight for Toronto minus Foligno, and this was made a big deal of. But here's the thing: as a Bruins fan, I know how useful Riley Nash can be, and I know that in Columbus, A, he never really clicked, and B, I don't think he was ever utilized very well by Columbus, and that's not an insult to Columbus. It's just sometimes that happens. So I wasn't nearly as alarmed as some seem to be that Foligno was out, because I know Nash can win faceoffs. And I know Nash is better offensively than he gets credit for. So there you go. Caulfield was in as well. I thought Caulfield had a good game. Hopefully he's in for the next one as well. Price was tested early, and then in a minute and 2 seconds, the Leafs go to the power play. The power plays were not effective tonight, so that really wasn't an issue with tonight's game. And it was a 4-minute power play as well. It was a strong penalty kill. The 4-minute power play gets killed off. That was actually the Habs went to the power play. It was a 4-minute power play. Crossbar denies Caulfield. Strong penalty kill by the Leafs. 4-minute power play was killed off. We had a Perry tip that was saved by Campbell. Jack Campbell with another good game tonight. Strong penalty. Anyway, shots are 3-3 at 9 minutes. I mentioned in the first review, probably going to mess up some of the stuff I read off the board because it's late and I just watched 2 games for the price of 1. Delay a game call. The Leafs go to the power play. Spezza was robbed. The Habs would kill it off. And I mean robbed. Like Carey Price made a save that's going to be in all the highlight reels during these playoffs and after these playoffs are done. One of those fantastic Carey Price style saves. A few shots, but both goalies were on the ball when they were tested in this first period. Nash was taking the defensive zone faceoffs in place of Kerfoot as well. So he would go out, take the faceoff, and then skate off, and Kerfoot would come on the ice after he'd won the faceoff. The Canucks employed this with Horvat just last season. So it's not that unusual around the NHL. It just means they don't have a lot of faith in the defensive zone and Kerfoot winning the faceoffs. Lehkonen had been out since a collision, and I thought maybe he returns. He doesn't, though. Doesn't return to the game. Price stopped a Brody chance. The Habs would get a power play. The Leafs killed it. As Toffoli ends up going to the box to even things up. We get 7 seconds of 4-on-4, and then the Leafs are going to get a power play. But again, the Habs kill that off because the power plays, while they were plentiful, they weren't fruitful today. So we go to the second period. Early edge for the Leafs. Price saves a shot from Riley. Things get scrummy at the Habs net. The Leafs go to the power play. Price denies Matthews. The shots were up to 13-6 for the Leafs overall in the game 5 minutes into that second period. The Habs had yet to get a shot in the second period. Habs and Price end up killing it off. Marner holds onto a puck too long as the Leafs were pressing. And then Nylander would score from Kerfoot to open the scoring at 7:18. So William Nylander, who we've all talked about Nylander and how he's not very good in the playoffs and all that for years. He's been very good in these playoffs. William Nylander has been very good. And that was right off the faceoff. So Kerfoot wins a faceoff, probably like, hey, let's see if Riley Nash can do this. And so Nylander gets it in there. And it was deflected in, little chance for Price. Nylander then tries to make it 2-0. Little ice time for Caulfield at this stage of the game. Lehkonen hadn't returned, so the lines were being shuffled by Montreal. Heavy pressure by the Leafs with 9 minutes left. Caulfield does get a shot. That stopped as the Habs press back. So when Caulfield got a shift, he generally got a shot. He generally was getting to the net. So again, a team like Montreal that is starving for offense, you're better off giving Caulfield that chance because eventually they're going to start going in. Suzuki would get one from Tatar and Perry at 13:56, and it goes under the blocker and over the pad. And Suzuki, they need him going too. So there's a lot of guys who need to start getting the puck into the net for Montreal, or Toronto may end up winning this series from here on out. Riley would restore the lead from Marner and Brody at 16:35, and then the Leafs press for another. Matthews was denied twice after a nice rush by Marner, and a scrum would follow that. out of the scrum, the Leafs have a power play with 1:08 left. They had some press on the net in that last minute, but we go to the third with them still on the power play, where the Habs would kill off the remainder of that power play. Price stops a good shot from Marner. There's a Weber blast that's deflected wide. The Habs would press at 6.5 minutes, and the Leafs kind of stopped playing in the third in terms of trying to increase their lead. It was like they were playing as if it was 4-1 or 6-1, and it was only 2-1. So the Leafs are throwing checks, and we had a long stretch without a whistle. Petrie had a shot that was stopped after 5+ minutes without a whistle. But again, Montreal's getting shots, and Toronto just isn't. Caulfield then had a net drive that was saved. More ice time for him in the third, as the Habs realize, hey, we need a goal, and Caulfield's a guy who might be able to generate one. So Gallagher had a fast break that was off of Campbell's mask, so he takes a shot, hits Campbell's mask, and goes out. The Habs press with 7.5 minutes left. Glove save on Suzuki by Campbell, so Suzuki was that close to getting his second goal of the game. The Leafs were on their heels way too much in that third period. That was not inspiring hockey from the Leafs. I think you come out of this game tonight and you're like, you know what? Yeah, we are pretty impressed that we don't come out of this in worse shape than we did. So Thornton had a prime chance that was fired wide. Bogosian also fires one wide. Tatar had a wraparound chance. That was saved. And then Price had an easy save on Hyman. That was only the second Leafs shot. And that was their last shot of the game. It was a pretty easy shot from Zach Hyman. So there's a goalie pull with 1:50 left. The goalie that gets pulled is, of course, Montreal's. It would make no sense for Toronto to pull the goalie while they're ahead. And so the Habs pressed with the 6-on-5. The Leafs would clear it out. They were pressed down there for a while, but they get a line change, and that's key. You know, if you're trying to kill the rest of the game, make sure you're able to refresh your lines. Hall blocks a Caulfield chance, and the Leafs just hold on as the Habs are all around the net. Cannot get that tying goal. So they win it 2-1 to the Toronto Maple Leafs, and they go up 2-1 in this series. And yeah, they looked good tonight in the first and second period. Again, don't follow this template if you want to win again, but it wasn't the ugliest win of the night. We'll get to the ugliest win of the night. So Toronto outshoots Montreal 7-6 in the first, 20-8 in the second, and then went, all right, cool. And they got outshot 14-2 in the third. Final shots, 29-28 for Toronto. Power plays, Toronto goes 0 for 4, Montreal goes 0 for 3. Hits, 37-28 in favor of Montreal. So they out-hit them, and they almost outshot them. The block shots, 17-14 for Toronto. Jack Campbell, another really good start for him. 27 saves on 28 shots. And Price saves 27 on 29. It's not his fault that the Montreal Canadiens lose. But again, we're at this stage where Montreal gets held to 2 or less goals way too often. And Toronto did it. They held them off the board. And again, it's not pretty, but it doesn't matter. They all count, and these teams play again tomorrow. So we'll see whether or not Toronto can take momentum from this and add to it tomorrow, or if Montreal can answer and tie up the series. Because if Toronto wins the game tomorrow, there's a good chance this series is over relatively quickly. I think it would be ironic if everybody was worried about the North and the North series and, oh, they're behind the series for the teams in the States, if the North series were both done quickly and it all evens out. That I would actually find kind of funny if that happened. But if you're a Montreal fan, you don't want that. If you're a fan of one of the teams in the other series was going on in the North, you might want these guys to go 7 and go to double, triple overtime in every game. You might want that to happen. So we'll see. We'll see if Toronto can hold on to it. But it does feel different when they're against Montreal than when they're against, say, Boston or Washington or last year against Columbus. This does feel like a different beast. And it will be interesting to see if Toronto holds on, if they win this series, does that garner them more respect, or are people just going to shrug and go, yeah, so they beat Montreal? We'll see. For me, I think it would be huge if this team can win a round. I don't think it necessarily matters who it's against. I think just mentally and just for the team itself to get out of the first round and get into the final 8, I think that would be huge for them. And we'll see what happens. But Montreal is definitely not out of this. And Carey Price is still playing really well. It's just a matter of generating goals. So that's the question I have. Can Montreal generate enough goals to push this series to 7 to maybe come back and win this series? Or is Toronto in the driver's seat with a 2-1 series lead? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. If you're browsing your way through, you just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. And for those who waited until this posted, kudos. If I wake you up in the middle of the night with this video being posted, I apologize. But hey, I've still got 3 more games to review. I will talk to you guys again soon.